Hey everybody, and welcome back to The Creative Collector, where I am more likely to win the lottery than finish my backlog. So speaking of backlog, I am one piece closer to finishing everything right now. This is the Wolverine Part 2, Bad Night for the Ninjas. If you haven't seen the Punisher video that I did last year, check it out. It's up in one of the corners right now. Go over and check it out if you watch this one right here, so you can go through the entire process of how I painted Punisher. So we're going to take a look at this Wolverine piece here, and I'm going to go over some of the things that I did with it. This isn't a painting tutorial or anything like that. This is to kind of show you what I did on this piece here. And this piece is also available through my Patreon, which there is a link below in the description. And both of these pieces I commissioned through FP Artworks. A gentleman named Facundo Palais is the artist who actually did these for me. He is a phenomenal artist and has done a lot of exclusive pieces for my Patreon, and I'm also going to put a link in the description below for him as well. So what do you say we check this model out? Alright guys, here it is. This is the Wolverine part for the Jim Lee lithograph Bad Night for Ninjas that was made over 30 years ago. And I did the first part, the Punisher, and he's sitting over here next to Wolverine. And this is a massive diorama. This is a custom piece that I actually commissioned out FP Artworks to do this for me actually last year. So I've had Punisher done for over a year, and I've been putting this one off time and time again, and I really needed to go ahead and get my backlog finished up to date, and so this was one of the first ones that I wanted to get done. I absolutely love this piece. Facundo Palais is the artist who did this for me, and this turned out really excellent. Lots of details in here, and this was a blast to paint. So I'm going to go over some of the things that I did here, some of the techniques. There's nothing really special, but we're going to go ahead and look at this kind of piece by piece here, and you know, maybe you'll get some ideas on maybe creating your own piece, or you know, this is available through my Patreon. You can look me up and get this piece from me exclusively. So here we go. First and foremost, I've got to talk about the apples. I've never painted apples before, and this was a first for me. And of course, Wolverine's busting through the crate, or busting on the crate, all through the apples and stuff. So this was neat. I just did a little bit of research on Google, found what apples look like, and you know, kind of went with it. So this is printed in quarter scale. I used several printers to do this last year, and it is big. This piece consisted of a lot of pieces. The ninjas themselves were several pieces: the heads, the arms, the head. I think the arrows, yes, the arrows were one piece of the torso, and then the legs and the feet. But it has two ninjas on each piece of the diorama. They're in different poses. And some of them are carrying the nunchucks, and one of them has the sword, and then these guys over here, this one has the size here. So several pieces, and then it just pretty much just connected into the base. It's almost like free floating. There's a big giant peg on the bottom of this one, and actually all of them, and that holds them in place, and they look like they're in suspended animation almost, which was ultra cool. That's one of the things that I worked with Facundo on, how I just wanted this very close to the lithograph. It's not perfect, but it's the only kind of model like this out there, and this is my favorite piece ever done with Wolverine and Punisher that Jim Lee did all those years ago. So with the ninjas, I just basically painted them all red. I painted them a fire red, and if you need some insight on how I did them, more insight, that is, go check out the old Punisher video that I did last year that will tell you kind of piece by piece how I did everything, scene by scene, I guess you could say. But ultimately, it's a fire red, and I did use a little bit of a fire orange on some of the accents and highlights. And then I went in with the black and just shaded all the inside right here. If you look on the lithograph, you can't really tell whether the ninjas are black or red. So I kind of did a little bit of both here for, you know, for whatever sake, and I really like them like this. I like the deep shading, and I like the looks on their faces, and I think it turned out pretty cool. Yeah, the base was like 3 different pieces. It's all printed in resin, and everything connects together. The boards and stuff are also one piece with a giant peg underneath it. Same thing with the crates. The crates are one piece. I printed these. I had a couple of failures on here, I remember, and then I just basically painted the wood a brown and then used a black wash over it, and then went back in with a lighter brown for any type of dry brushing, and then I used a little bit of wood brown to give it a little bit of highlights and a little bit of accents and stuff, and looks pretty good. Did the silver tips and stuff on the rivets or whatever you want to call them, and then added the stars to it. Now the stars actually come actually attached to the crates, and these things just they broke off, so I printed some individually and just added them to there. One of the big concerns that I had with Wolverine like launching like this was being stable on top of this. So actually the back here is actually one giant piece that's connected to this foot that actually stays in place. The peg is humongous. It's about probably 1.5 inches square that just sits down in this, and he just rests his knee on top of the apples here. So once that's glued into place, there was no issue with him falling back and forth. As you can see, he's on there. He's not going anywhere. So for the Wolverine suit, it's brown and yellow suit. I just painted everything brown on these parts, used black shading, and on the yellow parts here, I basically just used a white primer. So I wasn't going to paint like 50 layers on top of it. And I used a dark yellow over the top of that and lightened it up. And I went in with a yellow-orange shading and just accented it a little bit with a lighter yellow. Turned out pretty good, and it looks really, really nice in person. You can't really tell a lot of this from the video, but it turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with it. Not much as far as skin tones on Wolverine. I just did my basic mix on him and just use a little bit of red shading, a little bit of red glazing like I did with all of my skin tones, and that's pretty much it. Nothing fancy there. This was a basic model, so if you're looking for something to really, just start out with in a basic type of thing, but you want a massive diorama, this was it, and I really had fun painting it. You can't really screw this one up too bad. You could put your own spin on it, definitely, but it was fun. It was really fun to do. So this guy here is like looking up at Wolverine. He's about to be toast. So yeah, he's kind of free floating there on one leg. This leg is just kind of in the air. I'll see if I can get like if you could see, he's just barely touching the base here, but he's nothing underneath there. So that peg on that other foot there keeps him elevated. Same thing with this ninja here. He's kind of like floating. He's got one peg right there. He kind of integrated it with the concrete base, as you can see. And his leg is like off the base here, which I really, really love. And he's kind of like reaching out like he's falling forward. Pretty neat. And then on the Punisher part 2, you got this one guy who's kind of fallen. And the same thing, he's got a peg that's actually on the base, and he's kind of looks like he's fallen off the base a little bit, while this other guy is just kind of sitting propped backwards onto this crate here. And the same thing, he just Facundo, he just really put a nice peg on there. Really, really stable. This guy's not going anywhere. I don't have to worry about anything falling off or coming undone or whatever. So good job on his part. We'll take a brief look at Punisher here. Again, I did him over a year ago, and same thing, the ninjas, I painted him the same way. Go back and look at that older video and you can see how I pretty much painted the ninjas, the wood, how I did the tones on the suit here. I just worked from dark to light, and the suit really come out very vibrant. I wanted to keep along with the comic feel, and I think I pulled it off. This is, definitely a humongous piece, and I tried to do it justice, and yeah, I just simply love this piece right here. And if you saw the Punisher video, you'll remember that I printed this in clear resin, and I used some clear transparent paints on this right here. And I also thought about putting a lighting mechanism inside of this, and I still may do that later on, but I don't really think that it kind of makes sense that it's broken off of here and it still lights up. So I'm just kind of torn with what I want to do, but for an aesthetic purpose, I think it would look pretty sharp. But Punisher, muscled up dude, fighting off some ninjas. Wolverine, muscled up dude with claws and stuff, fighting off some ninjas. I mean, it doesn't really get any better than this here. But I love this piece. I probably said it 100 times already in this video. And again, if you want this piece, contact me. It is available through my Patreon only. Lastly, for the base on both of these, I just painted everything a neutral gray, put a massive black wash on it. Same thing I did with the wood here. And I just use a lighter gray to dry brush over it. I did use an airbrush to go back into some of the cracks and crevices here to kind of deepen the contrast on those, to kind of set them apart a little bit. And again, the one cool thing that I thought about doing was with the stars, I thought about adding a bunch more and just putting them all over the place, but I didn't want to overkill it. But you can do that if you want to, if you have this model. Again, this is they're two separate models, but you can put them together to do one big diorama, or if you want to, you can print just one or the other. I mean, you don't have to print them both. So this is what it looks like when it's all together, all displayed together, that is. Again, it is a humongous diorama, takes up a lot of space, but again, I did print this in quarter scale. You can do it in 1/6 scale and it'll be much smaller. As you can see, my Colossus and Juggernaut diorama up here, that is probably the biggest one that I have. And as far as, you know, this one's going to give it a run for its money as far as taking up space and everything. But I got it displayed here. I'm going to find a permanent home for it so I can display it with the two lithographs. All right, everyone, that is a wrap on this video. Hope you enjoyed the turnaround and seeing both pieces together and actually seeing what the lithographs look like kind of compared to the models themselves. And I want to give a huge shout out once again to my Patreon members, because without them, we probably couldn't be able to do these custom pieces and do these videos. And if you want to become a member of a great community with a Discord, with Model of the Month and everything, again, that link to the Patreon is below in the description. We'd love to have you over there. And as always, everybody, stay safe out there. Thank you for your time. Now get out and create something. Print, prep, paint, repeat. Print, prep, paint, repeat. I thought I messed that up there at first. And until the next video, everyone, we'll see you. Oh man, there's so many models, so little time. Oh, I'm never gonna get through this. I even got this guy to do. Jeez.